Awesome. So I am so excited. Today we are doing mindful art, which is, we haven't done this one yet. And I've been teaching mindfulness online for like almost a year now because, pandemic. So this is really fun. I'm excited about this one. If you don't already, or if you're watching this later, what you're going to need is paper and either markers or a pen, just some sort of writing utensil. It doesn't really matter. If you get markers, then you might be able to get a little creative with what you've done later. I know for some of you, we have sent you a notebook. You're welcome to use watercolor paper. I'm fine with that, but I'm choosing to use computer paper because, I think that's okay too. So just use whatever you have. Doesn't have to be fancy. Um, and we will get started. So, with mindfulness, first of all, mindfulness has to do with watching the breath. It has to do with being calm, non judgmental. It has to do with focused awareness. So that's what we're going to do with the art. I want you to go ahead and put on pause in your brain the expectation that art has to look a certain way, because that doesn't matter with mindfulness. I am not an art teacher. I am not here to grade your art. So if you're trying to make something beautiful visually, that's okay, but that's not our goal. Our goal here is simply to be with the art and let things flow out of us. And if it looks scribbly, great. That's no different than if it were to look like a masterpiece. Doesn't matter in mindfulness. So free yourself, let go of the parts of yourself that make you feel like it has to look a certain way. And some of these are going to be more about the process than about what it looks like anyway. So, what we're going to do first is we're going to, and we will start drawing here in just a second. So, have your stuff ready. But I want us to go ahead and start by taking a few deep breaths, and don't do anything yet. Just become aware of your breathing. It may be the first time today that you even notice that you are breathing. And notice your inhale as it fills up your lungs, and notice your exhale as you slowly let each air go. Then you can kind of think of your breath as this gentle in and out, or like a wave, like an up or down, or maybe like a forward one way, backward the other, down and out. However you want to visualize it, but go ahead and imagine, what would your breath look like if it was maybe a line or a curve or a shape, just some sort of visual. Give your breath a visual right now, like what that movement would look like, what it would look like to draw your inhale, and what it might look like to draw your exhale, which is what we're exactly going to do right now. So go ahead and grab your paper and your pen or marker, whatever. And I want you to breathe nice and deep and go ahead and begin drawing what you think your inhale looks like. And then keep going, continuation into what you think your exhale looks like. And you can do that over and over. You may even want to play with the breath a little bit after you do a few deep breaths, and drawing those deep breaths, speed up the breath a little bit, or take sharp inhales or sharp exhales and see what maybe that looks like on the paper. I know it's really kind of out there and abstract, but that's what we're going for. I don't care what it looks like. There's no right way to draw your breath, but we're going to draw our breath. So I'm going to give us just like maybe a minute where I'm not going to talk, where you're just going to focus on your breath and draw it on the paper. So let's go. Just a few more breaths here, nice and deep. And now maybe play with your breath a little bit. Change it somehow and see how that changes the art. And just a couple more seconds here. And you're welcome to continue, but I'll go ahead and show you kind of what I did. See if yours is similar or different. I drew my breath like this, where an inhale looked like a wave. And then I had to mute myself because I sneezed. And then I was like, oh, I should draw my sneeze. So that's what I decided my sneeze would look like. And these are my deep breaths. And then I decided to speed up my breathing. And so it was like this little fast squiggle here. And then I took some really sharp inhale and exhale. So that was my breath that I just drew. And so I'm kind of impressed. I didn't think I would sneeze, but that, I thought that was kind of funny. So that's what we ended up with. Very cool. So the next thing we're going to do is more like a mindful challenge. So what I want you to do is find an object near you. Doesn't have to be a specific size, just something that you can look at, maybe even hold or feel. Don't have to, but just grab something nearby. Marker, pen, block, dice, don't care. Whatever's near you. Paperclip, doesn't matter. And what I want you to do is I'm going to give you 2 minutes to study the heck out of this item. You're going to observe it mindfully. Notice every contour, every shape, every design, every color, what exactly this object looks like. Because after 2 minutes, you're going to draw it. And I'll tell you more about that in a minute. So first, I'm going to give you exactly 2 minutes to stare at this object as much as you can and try to learn as much about it as you can. And go. Got like 1 more minute. Just study every tiny detail, like you could see it with your eyes closed. I gotta say, I've never studied a Sharpie this much in my life. I'm like reading things I never knew were there. All right, that's time right there. What we're gonna do is with the same sheet of paper or a different one, if you'd rather, whatever works for you. You're going to take your pen, pencil, marker, and you're gonna draw this object. Now, again, free yourself from trying to make it look a certain way. You're trying to draw it from studying it. You can still look at it from where you are, but don't freak out if it doesn't look exactly the same. Forget the hyper realistic, it has to look like that thing. Just go with what you remember. Like, oh, I know this curve, I know this design, I know it says this. Free your mind. If it doesn't look exactly like it, that doesn't matter. That's not what we're going for. We're just trying to see if you mindfully studied the object and can translate that onto the paper. So go for it. I'll give you a couple of minutes. We'll see what we come up with. I'm going to use a different pen for this one. I can go ahead and tell you, I already messed up, but I didn't mess up because mess ups don't exist in this activity. And I had a moment where I was like, oh, I drew that totally wrong. It's like, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. I just drew it. That's it. Non-judgment. That's what mindfulness is all about. It's going to look like what it looks like. Maybe another minute and a half. Almost done. If you don't finish your drawing, doesn't matter. You can always finish it later. Maybe add some finishing touches to it or some little detail. And now pause. And let's just have a look at it. And notice what you feel when you look at it. And the first thing you might have is maybe judgment. You might go, oh, I didn't do that right. Or, ugh, it doesn't look very good. But try to see if you can suspend that and be like, hey, I drew that. The point being not how well you drew it, but was it easier to draw because you remembered so much about it, because you studied it so well? I can tell you for me, that's very true. I've never looked at a Sharpie so long in my life. And I feel like I've learned a lot about the object because I studied it instead of just trying to copy it straight out. So, and then you see mine, here you go. Look, I drew this little part like way off and it doesn't matter. I don't care. I'm not embarrassed of it. It is what it is. And this was my Sharpie. And what was funny was as I'm doing the letters, I'm like, I remember what that says because I just studied the stew out of it for 2 minutes. So that was mindfulness, to use focused awareness. Absolutely. Do you want me to unmute you or you just want to hold it up? Yeah, I'll unmute you. Okay, I'm gonna ask you to unmute. You gotta unmute yourself. All right, show me what you got.
So I got this.
Okay, hang on. Let me make you bigger. Hang on just a second. Gallery view. All right. Oh, cool. Oh, that looks really good.
This is my object.
Wow. Yeah, I can totally tell. That's awesome. But again, the point being not that it looks so good, but like I can really tell that you studied it and that you learned the contours and the details so well. Well done. See,
thank you.
Art and mindfulness. I love it. That's fantastic. Thank you for being willing to share that with us. So I'm going to go ahead and pin myself again. Ooh. Awesome. So cool. Thank you for that. Our last activity, and if you're just joining us, because I see people coming on, grab some paper and some sort of writing utensil. We're going to do a mindful art activity while listening to something. So I'm going to play you music and I want you just to draw whatever you feel like the music is demonstrating at that time. So if you're just joining us, we drew our breath And I gave you basically no rules. I just said, draw what you think your inhales and exhales looks like. And this was my sneeze because I sneezed in the middle of it. But you kind of see how it is. No rules. I didn't say draw waves. I'm not saying draw zigzags. I just said, draw what you think. I'm going to do the same thing for you guys with this piece I'm going to play for you. It's going to maybe like 3 minutes long. It's not a long piece. It is a classical piece, but I want you to listen to it. Get your paper, get your pen, and go ahead and just turn off your brain of it needing to look like something or it needing to look good. That does not matter. This is not art class. This is mindfulness. And so it's really just about being in the moment, listening to the music and letting whatever the music kind of is saying to you come out onto the paper. So if you're hearing a lot of like loud, sharp sounds, then maybe you're drawing a lot of like scribbly lines. But if you're hearing beautiful, soft, slow music, maybe you're doing some swirls or you're doing some waves or it's very curvy and loose. I don't care what it looks like afterwards. I do not. It doesn't matter. I'm not grading you. It can look like nonsense, and that's just as valid as if somebody decided to paint a watercolor picture of lily pads, Monet, you know, in the middle of it. Doesn't matter to me. So have your paper, have your markers. I'm going to play the music for you. This piece, and if you're watching this later, I'm going to stop the video because it will not let me play music and upload it to YouTube for copyright reasons. So the piece we're listening to is Spring, the first movement by Vivaldi, which I picked because it's about to be springtime. And I love this piece because I think it demonstrates a lot of what spring sounds like. And he does a lot. Pay attention to the sound of it because it's going to sound like birds chirping and beautiful springtime, but also like storming and lightning because there's all these really violent storms in spring, right? That's when we get all our tornadoes and stuff. So I think this piece really captures that. Let whatever you draw show the same thing. Okay. And I got to go ahead and play it because we're going to run out of time. So I hope that you enjoyed that. I'll go ahead and show you my paper. You guys don't have to share if you don't want to, but mine looks like this. I don't know. I heard the music and stuff just happened all over my paper. It was kind of crazy, but I just kind of listened to it. I know this song really well, so I was like anticipating things, but if that felt weird to you, good. I like it when we challenge ourselves and we make ourselves feel out of the box and different. That's fine. And again, I don't care what it looks like. We drew an object before. You can see my Sharpie over here. I just drew on top of it. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It's no big deal. So that's mindfulness and art. You can make it what you want. Like part of art, we get too caught up in the goal, the object, what it's supposed to look like. We need to experience the process of making the art. You all ever done splatter art before? Yes, it looks great, but the point is that you're throwing paint on something. That's the mindfulness, is being able to express yourself, be in the moment, not judge what the outcome is. Like, this is probably going to hit the trash, and it doesn't matter. You guys have probably heard this before, but in Tibet, when the monks are making the giant sand mandalas, and they are beautiful, intricate, they use these tiny little things to like make the colored sand be in these just amazing designs. It takes them days to make one of these on the floor. And as soon as they make it, they leave it for a minute and they wipe it all off because the point for them was not the thing itself. It was the process of making it, being meditative and mindful and together as they make the art. So hopefully this resonated with you. Feel free to make art however you want. You don't have to be good at art. It doesn't matter. It's about the process. So hopefully you enjoyed. If anybody does want to share, feel free. You don't have to.